Shalom, Yasharala, all praises to the Most High, Yah. So today, we're really diving into a new subject matter. We're going to talk about the hidden truth of the Gullah Geechee people. Now, I've done a lot of research in the past on the actual Gullah Geechee tribes that are rooted in Georgia, North Carolina, um, also Georgia, North Carolina, and I believe it's also South Carolina. Um, and I've done a lot of research on them in the past. One of the things that I have learned about the Gullah Geechee people is that they talk Creole. A lot of the Creole sounds similar to Patois. It's a dialect of Creole that they talk in Jamaica, very similar in sounding. Um, Different dialects in certain words. But one of the things that I've learned within studying these people, or who are my people as well, on my mom's side, um, her father had Geechee in him, from New Orleans, actually. So that even shows that they were in the New Orleans area as well. The Seminoles, when you go into the information about the Seminoles, in the Seminole revolts, those were the Gullah Geechee people, and it was the Chickasaw in the Creek that were a part of these Seminole revolts that happened down in Florida, that happened in the Carolinas, and a variety of other places. But one of the things that you'll find when you really go into this history is that these people have always been indigenous to the land that they were fighting for. In my personal belief system, that's the reason why they were able to conquer the slave masters and those who they were actually battling at the times, the Europeans that were coming over. And the reason why they were able to conquer them in the ways is because they were familiar with the land and they were fighting for their land. Now, this becomes a controversial conversation because of the ways that the truth has been hidden within this narrative of who the Gullah Geechee, who the Chickasaw, who the Creek. Is a few tribes that are included within this. So the more that you go into this history, there's a narrative that there were no dark melanated Native Americans. In fact, the narrative that's actually told a lot of the time is that the people were actually enslaved by the Native Americans. Now, this becomes layered and very controversial only because it really segregates the people. So within that segregation, you have, light or mild or, mid-tone styles of natives who now can't um, really embrace the dark melanated because there's this narrative that America has put out that the dark melanated Native Americans or the indigenous people or the aboriginals were actually enslaved. They were just slaves. Now, the reason why this becomes a controversial narrative within our community is because a lot of people can actually trace their lineage back to these Native American bloodlines. In fact, they have grandparents who have passed stories down, and there's been a lot of gaslighting that's happened within these narratives where there are people who will denounce and say that you're crazy for saying that you're a part of these indigenous tribes. Now, there's college professors there, and the thing about it is, most of the people who are putting out these narratives are really indoctrinated with the W.E.B. Du Bois, the Booker T. Washingtons, and I would even throw in the Marcus Garvey narrative within that as well, only because these are people who benefited from the lie. And the reason why I say that is because historically we remember these representatives of blackness, these black elites, because of the narratives and the secrets that they kept. Now, the thing that I will say is the more that you actually go into and it's not just them, right? It's actually even the indigenous people themselves, the Gullah Geechee people that are from these tribes that are living in the Carolinas, that are living in Georgia, that are living in Florida. There we go. I don't know why I didn't in Florida, because Florida is one of the most essential parts of this narrative because that's where the battles went down. Okay. And I'm going to go more in depth in the Seminole battles, what those entailed, who were impacted by it, and what regions were really at war. That's going to be another, I'm going to do a series of these, and that's going to be a part of that series. With that being said, today I'm going to dive into a little bit of history and really talk about the connection of how the Gullah people are connected to the Hebrew bloodline. Now, the Creole that they speak already has Paleo Hebrew, right? In their dialect. Paleo Hebrew is the most ancient Hebrew that there is, and it's already connected within the within the ways that they speak within their Creole. We're going to listen to some of this today, little bits and pieces of that we're going to listen to today, and we're really going to kind of have a discussion based around the lie and who we are and why it's important for us. Now, there's a narrative that's currently happening about the foundational Black Americans. Really, the FBA narrative is important as well. And the reason why the FBA narrative is important is because it's claiming land and stake. It's claiming this land as our land, right? It's claiming us as being not from Africa, which there are some of us who were enslaved from Africa and brought over here. But there were many of us who were indigenous here who got swept under the rug. Now, many of my Hebrews, this ties into you as well, because that narrative of us and who we are, this is an important piece. Now, does that mean the narrative of Yahya the Negro who went into Spain and who conquered the Arabic, the actual Muslim Moors during that time and took over Spain? Is that not important still? Yeah, that's still a very important. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, if I'm talking Chinese when I said all these different things, I'm going to do a breakdown on that as well. But with that being said, let's do a little bit of diving. All right, let's go. Let's go. We're not going real deep, but we're going deep enough. All right, let's go. Now, this right here is actually an important breakdown that I found. This is a trip that I'm actually going to take. I'm planning on going down to South Carolina, connecting with some of the folks down there. But listen to this. It says nobody focus on Black history, African American history, American Indian history, slave history, but we do. We were here long before the slave ships came here. We are like any other tourism company because we are unscripted and this historical information is not taught in our educational facilities. This is the this is the popular this is the popular that is highly unpopular because the historical information we focus on is the history that has been forbidden since our lands have been taken over. We are the true Gullah Geechee people, full-blooded Barbinya Ishi. Now, this is Barbinya. If you Hebrew, you know what that Yah means. Barbinya is an important hint, right? We are the historic Barbinya Ishi, right? This tour brings to you the historical and Ishi, even if you know Hebrew and you know Paleo Hebrew, you know the significance of Ishi, right? This tour brings to you the historical connections we are all searching for. But we're very aware that many are against the historical information being revealed. And it says, welcome to Godfrey Gullah Geechee History Tours of Charleston, South Carolina. Now, this is an important breakdown because I did a lot of research trying to find. I've done a breakdown previously when I was doing more frequent actual um, vlogging on history. And before, when I was researching the actual Gullah Geechee, it wasn't as hard to find the indigenous root of it. But over the last year or two, it seems like there's been a lot, probably last 3 years, there's been a lot of changing of history. Majority of the time, you'll hear that the Gullah Geechee people came from um, Sierra Leone, or they came from Angola, Africa. Now, this is not me when I'm doing this breakdown, this is not me um saying anything against my African brothers and sisters. This is not me saying anything against my native brothers and sisters. This isn't even me saying anything against my Jewish brothers and sisters, those who are truly in the truth, following Torah and living according to the word, or is just part of that bloodline. This is not me talking against any of y'all. But the thing that we do have to realize is that this truth has to be revealed in order for the chosen, those who are of this bloodline, to be awakened, the 12 lost tribes. In order for us to be able to be truly awakened and understand who we are, we have to do these breakdowns. And this is a historical breakdown of those people. So it already shows you that and I'm going to show a little bit of evidence of how much is being covered up. Majority of the time, if you do research by yourself outside of what I just showed you, what's going to end up happening is you're going to hear a narrative that they all came from Africa, right? No, that's not the complete truth. It's just not. So let's go a little bit deeper. Now, if I go a little bit deeper, one of the things that I really want to highlight is how much this actual root narrative is already just innately within the culture of who we are. So let's go here for here we go. So check this video out. This video that I'm about to show you, listen to the people and listen to what they're saying. Those who are already of some knowledge of who we are within our Hebrew roots, you're going to hear exactly where I'm going within this, and you're going to understand why I'm saying that this is an important narrative to the lost tribes and those who have been scattered across the world. But let's go.
Kumbaya, malo, kumbaya, kumbaya, malo, kumbaya, kumbaya, malo, kumbaya. Oh Lord, kumbaya. Come by here. Come by here, my Lord. Come by here. Come by here, my Lord. Come by here. Come by here, my Lord, come by here. Oh Lord, come by, yeah. Come by, yeah. My Lord, come by, yeah. Come by, yeah, my Lord, come by, yeah. Come by, yeah, my Lord, come by, yeah. Oh Lord, come by, yeah.
So I just wanted to show a little bit of that. One of the most interesting things is how innately that was already a part. The kumbaya, come by here, my Lord. The Yah aspect of the narrative is such an important thing. Now, there's a lot of people out there who think that the Hebrew Israelites or the Black Hebrew Israelites are just pushing propaganda. But the thing is that when you get into the indigenous roots of who we are, most of the things that are hidden within our Creole, within our language, even when you go down to New Orleans and you really hear and see the culture and the ways it thrives in Haiti and even the Bahamas, or if you go to Jamaica and you got the Rastas and the Maroons, these people naturally have this in their culture. They naturally have it in their culture. And a lot of them went back to their culture. Those who didn't assimilate to the system went back to their culture. And They are living according to law, statutes, and commandments. The Maroons, the Rastafarians, when you're even getting into the Gullah Geechee, they naturally have law, statutes, and commandments in their indigenous root. It's just there. Native Americans have a thing called the Red Road. If you're walking the red road, you're walking according to the narrow path, which is law, statutes, and commandments. It's naturally a part of their culture. So these are some of the things that we really have to keep in mind and be aware of, because there is an agenda. There is a script that is being played out, and our people and other nationalities are very much contributing to that narrative for paychecks. There's a lot of money being exchanged to hide these narratives. And just like I said, this is not a knock at any people, any nationalities. Is not a knock to my indigenous people. This is not a knock to my Native Americans. We are all tribe, but we have to get this truth out. We have to, y'all, in order for this awakening to happen. The last little bit that I'm going to show you is this sister who really kind of just, she gives, and I'm not going deep into any of these videos, but this gives like kind of a snippet of some of the things that are actually happening within our bloodlines, and that most of us can already connect to a lot of it because it's already in our families. And all we have to do is have conversations with the elders in order to get to some of the bottom of a lot of this. Now, yes, Hebrew culture, indigenous culture, Native American culture, it's all connected. The Moors, all of it is connected. And the more that we do this research and the more that we go into it, these are the keys and chambers to our freedom. Let's go.
Here. Oh, the author of this article is Alita Sumter, and she's in Georgia Tech, Georgia, um, Georgia Tech, and the editor is Chris Dobbs. It was originally published in 2006, and it was last edited in 2017. So it's an older article. I think some stuff probably could be updated. I read it, and some things should be updated. Like, I think it should be expanded upon the article because it only mentions the African part of the history of this particular indigenous tribe. Um, they don't mention the Aboriginal side to it, and the name in itself is an indigenous name, the Gullah Geechee. If I'm not mistaken. These names stem from American Indians, Aboriginal. Yes, they are from Africa. They part, some of the people are linked to Africa, West Africa, but they are also indigenous here. They are also really closely related to the Aboriginals. And usually, when they do stories on it, they constantly put focus on the West African part of this particular tribe. But it would be nice also to tie in the Aboriginal part as well, because they have a lineage with the Indians, which is oftentimes scathed over. I noticed, because I think they're trying to tie them only with Africa, but that's not true. I spoke to my children's grandfather. According to him, they are related to the Indians, the Aboriginal, and also they West African. They got some West African culture and their beliefs and everything, but they also have Indian as well, Aborigine, and that's oftentimes overlooked.
I'm going to stop it there. But the main thing that I wanted you to hear is like how she has knowledge of who she is because of the elders and the ways that the information was passed down. See, the written word can be changed, it can be transformed, it can be manipulated. We've seen it happen with the Bible, with the Torah, and all of that. The thing that can't be changed is the orator, the ways that the griots used to pass down that information, like in West Africa and Mali. The other thing is we also have to understand is that America itself, North America, South America, was Africa. So the thing that we have to, and that's a crazy thought, but I'm going to go more into that within the breakdown of history and the ways that that actually plays out. But the more that you go into history, you understand that yes, the Africans are us and we are them, but it's not in the ways that they have portrayed it through history. It's not just through the slave trade. We're Aboriginal. We're the original. Ab means the original people. We're indigenous. And there's different tribes that have different cultures, different ethotypes, all of these different things that actually make us look a little bit different depending on the region of where we're from. There are different cultural differences. There are cultural differences between the actual aboriginals here in the United States versus Africa. There are different cultural aspects in the music and the ways that we say things, the ways that we act. There are a lot of similarities as well. But the thing is that we shouldn't hide only, and we shouldn't hide anything in history. In order for us to understand who we are and where we're going, we have to go to the roots so that we can expand to the branches. There's going to be more of these styles of breakdowns. I'm going to plan on doing more of these actual um, more essays that are going to really kind of dive into some of the aspects of this. I'm back on my grizzly right now with this truth and really being here on YouTube. If you could like and subscribe, leave a comment at the bottom of this. Have any questions, like to build, go ahead and get at me on Instagram. You can reach me at From Roots to Branches, or you can get in contact with me at it's From Roots, the number 2 branches, or you can get me at ill7 on my Instagram page, or you can get me at ill7 on my TikTok. ILLSE7EN. All praises to the Most High. Yah, bless up to those who are chosen. We on this grind. Bless up. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Let's stay in tune and intact with one another. Bless up. Shalom.
Future. The branches can only extend out when the roots are strong.